So I would like to talk about crafting, in specific jewel crafting, and then chef. Both of these are at 400, and there is very little reason to me personally for them to remain at 400. And I feel like two things could be accomplished at once with making them go up to 500. Jewel crafting, obviously, there's lots of ways to get ascended rings, amulets, earrings in the game, but now that it's so easy to get them in all those ways, why not make it so jewel crafters can make ascended versions of them? Um, the main thing is, instead of using an insignia or something like that to make the ascended ring and things like that, you can use the gemstones themselves, and you could make a quote unquote gift of gemstone by making all, say, you need 50 of each kind of tier of gems for the lowest gems. And then you could use a gift of quote unquote runes, to make it. Minor runes, 250 runes of a type. So for instance, I want, I don't know, berserker stats. I could take 250 runes of minor runes of, let's see, how about force, definitely. Um, Stuff that basically gives you lots of strength, you know. So, I mean, there's so many minor runes, and they're all things that people just vendor for the most part because they're so worthless. And you could make the stat combinations be based off of low level gems, so stones, so that those jewels have a value, and you could be making it based off of the worthless minor runes in the game. And then, besides those two things, obviously have your ascended mats, something actually worthwhile, Deltamore steel, bloodstone, ingots, whatever you want to do. But that way you're getting rid of some of these mats that desperately need to be gotten rid of, while at the same time getting, some value out of it. Another thing that it would be cool if jewel crafters could do is make a temporary sort of a utility item that wasn't actually a utility slot skill, but it basically would give you an environmental buff, and you could have that be based off of some of these minor runes of things like undead slaying, okay, or destroyer slaying or ice brood slaying. You could have it so that you could make a jewel that temporarily for half an hour would make it so you can walk, say you did 250 minor runes, 250 plain runes, and 250 rare runes. You did all of these runes together with something that was actually valuable, like some orbs or something, okay? And then the jewel crafter could create a gem that you use it, and for half an hour, say it was ice brood slaying, they could walk in Bitterfrost Frontier instead of having to make an elixir in the bitter cold. Or say it was of, you know, the Molten, the Flame Legion. You could have it be that they could walk on lava. Say it was for killing, I don't know, branded. You could have them walk on the actual branded stuff in Path of Fire for half an hour on foot. It's not a very important thing, but it gives them something to be able to do, some weird utility. Um, it's just some small something to help get rid of some of these, again, not very valuable mats and items to help create something that's better and that is going to be more useful. Another thing that would be really, really good is if they basically, jewel crafters could create maybe some sort of better watchwork portal device something like that. That would be really cool too. And again, use some of the worthless items mixed in with some of the good items. And I would love for the same thing to be done for crafting with cooking. There are so many crafting mats that are just the base mat, like leeks, passion fruit, green onions, mushrooms of every kind. You know, sawgill mushrooms are worthless now. So many mats that are just worthless. So why not take crafting to 500 for chef and make it so they have to use, again, large stacks, even 250 of these worthless mats mixed in with some more useful mats. Um, it seems like to me that this would be super productive in that it would give people something extra to do with their crafting, and it would also be productive in that you would be making things that have no value have value. And this game is filled with items that have no value, and it would be awesome if they could have some semblance of a value. So take a jar of mint sauce and have them create a new minty, delicious, food out of their mint sauce mixed with some high end mats and some low end mats, and take a whole big stack of them, say, 150 jars of mint sauce to craft it. And that's not going to be that expensive to make for that part of it, even though it's a big giant stack, because there's so much of an overabundance. 70, I mean, 9,000 is a lot. And then you've got all these ones as well. Like, it just goes on and on and on. Take some of these base things that you make and make them something better. You could have minty coffee, you know. You could have all these poor turnips and chocolate cherry frosting and, you know, bay leaves and zucchini and heads of lettuce. You could have all of that actually have a purpose and a value by putting it in a chef recipe and just making all of those recipes between 400 and 500 include, again, weak mats and expensive mats. And that way it balances out a little bit the huge discrepancy between materials that have value and are very expensive and materials that have no value and are worthless. I'm not asking for power creep, so please don't make the food significantly better than the food that already exists. I'm just asking for mats to all have a point in the game.